10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Covered by Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is Universal.
On 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it. All right, welcome back. We're going to do some sports concepts and rationalizations. And then after that, a little bit later, I've got kind of buried the lead, a bone to pick with Jeff.
Good.
Yeah, I got a bone to pick with Jeff.
Elephant in the room?
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow. Good.
A little bit. But anyway,
I think I may know what it is. I almost introduced that elephant in the room myself last week, but then all no.
You don't know what it is.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I've not told you yet what it is, so you do not know what it is. So if there's another elephant in the room, though,
there might be.
We may be at an all-time low here.
May have misseeded elephant in the room.
We'll have to bring in Joe Exotic to cart it off.
Might have to.
All right, here we a couple things.
Why do we feel old?
Okay, a couple of things from last segment. One, here's why we feel old, Dan.
Okay.
This is why we feel old. I can remember this with my dad. I can remember watching, things with my dad, and there'd be these managers, and to you, they were just old men, but to your parents, they were players, right? And that's kind of where we are now. It was one of the strangest disconnects between sports fans is the generational difference between, old guys like us remembering, guys that are now coaches as players and that kind of thing. Well, the signings yesterday, Dan, I'm sure you recognize the last name, but did you know that Cassius Marsh is the son of Curtis Marsh, former Jaguars receiver?
Is he really?
He really is.
Are you serious?
Yes, serious.
That's correct.
Serious as a heart attack.
Oh my
Cassius
God.
Marsh is.
You mean I can go up to Cassius Marsh in training camp and say, I covered your daddy?
You sure did.
If we're allowed to be out at training camp, yes.
Yeah.
Marsh is the son of Curtis Marsh Sr., a wide receiver who played football at Utah, drafted in the 7th round of the 95 draft by the Jaguars.
I remember Curtis Marsh. He got in a fight with
Dave Thomas,
if I'm not mistaken.
Beat the hell out of him.
Wendy's
to be
guy?
honest with you.
No, it was not the Wendy's guy.
No, not Wendy's Dave Thomas, a different Dave. DT41, we called him.
In fact, I was watching, just to take a trip down memory lane here, I was watching last night. I was flipping around, and I came across the Super Bowl, and it was the Giants and the Ravens, okay?
Yeah.
And the Giants had Thomas 41, and I think that might have been DT 41.
That probably was.
So
that'd have been about right.
Dave Thomas went to Tennessee, by the way. He played at Tennessee. He was a good. We used to kid him a lot. He was a good guy to.
He was on the Monday Night Show with us a bunch.
Yeah, good dude. And
Cassius Marsh, one of the two signees yesterday, and the one who probably, if either he or the other cat signed yesterday is going to make an impact, it would probably be Marsh. He's more, and the other guy's a 10-year vet. He's never done anything. He's just a space filler. But Marsh has bounced around the league since he was drafted by Seattle.
He started 3 games, had 2.5 sacks. Now they kind of say he's sort of a defensive end hybrid linebacker, which makes you wonder about 3-4 again. And but the one sentence you don't want to have written about you, if you're Cassius Marsh, and I've noticed this by one of the Jaguar guys who cover the Jags, and this is the SI guy, John Shipley, does a good job. John said, Marsh fits the mold of a past outside linebacker / defensive end hybrids that General Manager Dave Caldwell signed in the past due to his similarities with Dan Skuta and Dakota Watson. Don't really want to be compared to those two guys.
Yeah, Dave Caldwell, of his biggest whiffs have been at that position, haven't they?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I'd have to say.
I would.
Think about it.
I would say that the whiffs. I mean, forget draft. I just mean when it comes to free agent, we have signed more useless linebackers.
Yeah.
I'll take you down memory lane one more time.
Cassius Marsh is Curtis Marsh's son. Wow.
Yeah. Told you you'd feel old.
Yeah, that's great, man. I love that, though. That's a great story. I hope he makes it now.
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, he's not. What do I know?
Yeah.
The Jaguars' linebacking crew is just. I was looking at the depth chart when this signing was made.
But my bigger question is that another indicator of perhaps a 3-4? That's what I'm wondering.
I had it on good authority. I said this before. Tony and I snapped at each other in breakfast with Baselli months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm under the opinion that is what they plan to do. Now things can change, but I do think that. I think that they thought, let me just put it that way, I think there are people on the coaching staff who thought they were going to be switching to a 3-4, a couple months ago. So that might still be in the offing. And the personnel on this team would seem to fit a 3-4 pretty good. of course, a lot of this depends on Unique and what they end up doing with him, right?
Yeah, I hear Al Woods, and I think of some of the guy Grady and some of the dudes that we had through the years.
It's 10 years, Hick.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Big giant
what are we doing?
Red Bryant we brought
That's
in.
a nose tackle, though. That's another 3-4 kind of guy. He's not the rangy linebackery part of the 3-4. He's that big, put him in the middle, clog everything up part of it. So it does seem strange if they're going to a 3-4. Calais Campbell will be kind of made for that, too. That's kind of strange.
Yeah.
But life is strange. It's strange that we live in an NFL world where Kyle Allen and Calais
Where
Campbell.
did Cassius Marsh go to school?
UCLA. Cassius Marsh was a big-time high school prospect.
Did Cassius Marsh? Did Curtis grow up? Did he grow up out in California? Is that where they were?
Let's see. He went to high school in Westlake, California. He was born in Mission Hills, California, in 1990.
All right.
He was born. Oh shoot! Curtis was in college when he was born. Right? Curtis Marsh was like a 95 or 96 draft pick, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cassius was born in 92. So Curtis had him young.
Oh. Curtis Marsh, career catches with the Jaguars, please.
He had a game like at the end of his first year where it made you think, like he wasn't active and then he got active. But I'm going to say career catches for Curtis Marsh. I'm going to say 6.
Let's see what he did. 95 alone. Curtis brought in 7 catches for 127 yards.
I think he got all those like in one game. He got a chance late.
96, he only played in one game, and then he went on to the Steelers.
Okay, hold on now. I meant Jaguar career catches, so it was 7.
7. Yeah.
Bob did pretty good.
He had 9 career catches. Curtis Marsh.
Wow.
Now 49 years old.
My son is a real estate appraiser, and he was going around town yesterday. He did a property of Marcus Stroud, so he got to beat Marcus Stroud, and it was interesting talking to him. Because he's excited. 22, 23-year-olds are. But this speaks well for him. My son remembers Marcus Stroud and John Henderson.
Oh,
That's how – and I say that like so that it would elicit surprise. He's like 9 or 10. You don't remember those types of players at that age, right? You remember Jimmy Smith and Fred Taylor and those guys in that era. But it just goes to show you how good those two were. But you know what, Hick? I was thinking about this earlier today. But he was just fascinated by how big the guy is, and how much money he made. Then I looked up Marcus Stroud. Made $40 million in his career, and then my son reminded me of someone the Jaguars signed, and I just have completely forgot about. Remember the Aaron Campbell signing? Remember that one?
The Packer guy.
Yeah,
never. He had
what happened? Did he get hurt?
Bad knee, I think, or something. Yeah. He just couldn't get going. It's funny you're talking about that with your son because our discussion with my son the other day was about. I've told this story before, but we have a tradition with him on opening day. He will buy a jersey from the stadium of a player that he for the year. You're right. And remember last year,
football?
Yeah, a Jaguar jersey. At the first home game of the year, when he goes to his first game, he buys a jersey, and he does it every year, and he's been doing it. So I said, well, what jerseys do you have? And the ones he rattled off are really, it's astounding, dude, the amount of jerseys. And then remember the controversial last year, 2000, I feel like the Jaguars should refund me some cash. I was pissed about it, excuse my language, last year because he went Foles opening day, and then I went to see him at the Jets game, and he had on a Minshew jersey, and I got ticked. I'm like, what's going on here? And the wife pulled a fast one on me and got him a Minshew jersey. So now he went 2 jerseys last year. That has never happened before because
I can't wear this. It's embarrassing.
Well, no, it's not that. I don't know if you know this, but those jerseys aren't $24. Okay,
right.
They're expensive. So, but with that said, we were going through. He goes back to like Blaine Gabbert, Blake Bortles. Calais Campbell, Yannick
Kid does not
Ngakoue,
do a good job of picking his favorite player.
Leonard Fournette, Jalen Ramsey. I mean, he's had them all, man. I mean, and it's one a year, but they add up pretty quick, man.
I wish jerseys would have been popular when we were kids. They just weren't. Not
like
glad
they weren't. They're expensive. Well, of course, it was our parents' money then.
Yeah, but our parents, unlike our idiot selves in
no.
today's generation, they didn't buy us anything, but we're stupid.
They would have said, here, kid, take a drag on this heater and shut your mouth.
Here, kid, have a smoke. Steal one of my Pall Malls and go off in the woods.
We're at the football.
I heard there's a Playboy in there.
We're at the football game with Dad. Dad's pulling out a smoke and goes, "Here you are, son. You're old enough now. I'm 11, Dad." Oh. I'm just kidding. But anyway, thanks for making me feel a little bit older, but that's cool. I like that, and I'm good for. So Curtis Marsh, man, golly, now. Ask 100 Jag fans, Curtis Marsh, you're going to get about 5 who say, "Oh yeah, I remember that guy."
Well, and maybe it's because, and you know how it is when you get older too. I mean, I probably have more intense, accurate memories of like 95 through 99 than I do from 15 to 19. It's just how brain works.
I like the move Seattle made to get Quentin Dunbar. Quentin Dunbar is an underrated cornerback who, and they only gave them a 5th-round pick to Washington, and they will. Now they
got to pay him. That's why they got him for a 5th.
They don't have to. I mean, he has to play this year, he will. But then after that, they do. I think is that correct, or am I wrong?
Yeah, he's got 1 year left at $3 million. But that's where he was headed with Washington before the salary stalemate. So,
but he's a good football player. Like you don't trade away a Quentin Dunbar. I am. By the way, I did some research yesterday. I was looking at numbers of plays, snaps that the Jaguars had, and it's. In other words, I was looking at the defense specifically, and the safety, Wilson had the most. He had like 1,000+ snaps. Trey Herndon had over 900. A.J. Boye had the most of any corner. Well, A.J. Boye is gone. And so you have Trey Herndon. You have D.J. Hayden, who had about 600-some, and you signed Denard, who had 500-some.
And you're going to play Denard at that starting spot right now, but you have to wonder if maybe C.J. Henderson.
I don't, and I know Dave
maybe Okudah falls to 9. You know I want to go offense, but I also know it's not happening. So as we talk about the draft moving forward, I'm going to be dropping defensive names in there. It's not like who I would take, but it's who I think. And I
will. Couple things just in looking at some stuff. I don't think there's any way Okudah falls to 9. That would be. There's been some scenarios, like if you look at some mocks and you go, "Oh, that makes sense," but the closer we get, the less I think that's likely to happen. So I don't think Okudah in any way, shape, or form falls to 9. But I do. I will bet the farm 9, 20, or 42 will be a cornerback.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah,
and you know what? As much as I want to go all offense, they need. Hopefully, they hit a home run. A guy they can stick in there for 5 years and play at a high level.
Well, Dave Caldwell said, in free agency, you're trying to plug holes, so gives you more flexibility in the draft. And I know that, but they had to sign Denard, but that's not near enough. Is my point. Denard is injury prone. You can't. Hayden played 500-600 plays last year. He was a nickel, and Trey Herndon. Was
far from proven.
Yeah,
right.
Was pleasantly good, and I'm
effective,
and I'm excited for him to get another go round. But I'm not sold that he will be even a starting corner in the league for the next 10 years or 5 years. I'm not sold. I mean,
he's got a good chance here.
Yeah, well, yeah. So anyway, my point that adds up to my point that I sitting in the offices, they have to be looking at corners at a relatively high pick because they know that they have to have another starter. I'm not sure that those 3 are good enough to be starting corners.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were 2 cornerbacks brought in through the draft.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me.
So my point. So then I was wondering, well, why not Quentin Dunbar? Why wouldn't you give up one of your 5ths for a Quentin Dunbar?
Well,
because you don't want to pay him.
They weren't sniffing around. There must be.
They're sniffing, but they probably didn't want to pay him a new deal and spend a lot of money.
And then you were doing it for 1 year. A year you're not going to win. Whereas they're probably looking to make him a part of their rotation for the next 4 or 5 years, and are prepared to pay him.
It is
that
amazing.
Would be my guess.
It is amazing in as we hit week 2, the names that start, surfacing in terms of free agency. Brandon Shell, Devondre Campbell, those types.
Well, it's also always weird too to get to this week 2 and then wonder, okay, why are these 8 premier names still out there?
Right.
Are they asking for too much money?
Right.
Are they not as good as we think they are? I mean, why is Jadeveon Clowney and Robbie Anderson and Ndamukong Suh, just Everson Griffin? These are players they're gonna Eric Reed is in his prime at age 28 after overcoming some health issues. You always wonder why it is some of those guys aren't getting signed.
Yeah.
I mean, Von Bell, full-time starter last year. He's 25 years old, out of Ohio State.
I like to call him Von Ring My Bell, Jeff.
Okay, well, you can do that.
Of course, he's the son of Buddy Bell.
Well, no, that's Curtis Marsh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And Cassius Marsh.
I thought we were making ourselves feel old.
Well,
maybe he's related to former Seminole Von Wafer, Jeff.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. There are certain things in life, Dan, that are just absolute guarantees. Death, taxes, and an adverse reaction to any new logo that's revealed. And congratulations, Rams. You're now the latest.
Was it the one that was leaked?
I think it's a pretty solid logo. I don't see what the problem is.
The one that was leaked, remember that the lids and the look for the draft that won't happen? They were going for like a neon, like a bar neon look. So the colors were a little off on that leaked logo, but the logo was legit.
I'm going to say this though, Jeff. I'm from this, and again, I'm not big on unveilings of new unis or you two. I kind of cede to you on the uniforms because you guys
and Jeff
can
love it.
Yeah, you guys can describe them. You can remember what the uniform was that they were wearing. I don't remember it, but I'll say this: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Rams are iconic. I love the Rams
except
stuff.
Except what are they right now? Are they that old blue and white? White? Are they blue and yellow? Are they gold?
Well, I don't like the mixture, but I don't mind the throwback. I don't mind the throwback, but I don't like the mixture. Don't mix the two, and that's what they did this year.
And I think what they're doing now is they're going back to that classic blue and yellow,
right,
with some white trim, I think, and that's the look.
Which is fine.
But they're going back to that royal blue with the bright yellow, and that's the look.
But I promise you, they'll do throwbacks.
Because the hard part was you're only allowed the one lid.
Right.
So when they would go to the throwbacks, they still had to wear that navy lid, and it looked weird against the blue
whole
shirt.
thing has looked weird.
It was a hot
but
mess.
They're not in there. It's still, to me, it's like, so what? They're still vagabonds because they're playing in the Coliseum. Once they go to SoFi, though, they got to get it right. You got to get it right at SoFi.
I think.
Well, supposed to be. We don't know.
I think the Falcons get new uniforms this offseason.
Correct.
And the one thing I'll say, the Falcons have been a dreadful, terribly run franchise, but they have always had a good uniform. So I'm going to trust that it's going to be sharp.
And the Brownies, who reportedly are going back to basics.
Well, they just
they
just
redid
redid
whole thing.
They're going. Yeah, they've done their 5.
Yeah,
they've done their 5 years.
Oh, is that what it is?
It's 5 years. You have to go 5 years when you change looks.
Really?
So they've done their 5 seasons, and they're going back to like the old school.
Yeah, that just the basic,
that
hasn't worked.
Brown shirt,
all those
orange
different
lid.
brown. Yeah, it's been terrible. Hick, they're going to have to postpone the Olympics for a year, right? I mean,
for sure.
And it seemed, I can remember back, a week ago, feels like it was a month ago, but when they first canceled the TPC and started canceling tournaments, and you thought, wow, this is too soon, and then the Masters goes ahead and makes a decision, or Major League Baseball, and you're like, wow, is that too soon? Well, now when you get close to those dates where those events were going to be, you could see how, well, it would have been silly to keep carrying this on. They would have had to cancel them now, and I just get the feeling that it'll be the same way once we roll around to July. Here's another concern, too, when it comes to the coronavirus. There are certain areas of the world that haven't really been hit yet, and who's to say they don't at some point and then, reintroduce? Because the one, and I'm not a doctor, Hick, but the one thing that concerns me is that by quarantining and isolating, do enough people get the illness to get it and pass it and not be able to get it again? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's usually not a strategy to go get sick on purpose, but I just wonder, being so safe, does next year, does it just reopen for all those that didn't get it?
The ultimate key to snuffing this one out is the vaccine. But the vaccine, and there's strides being made, but again, you have to wait, sort of see how people react for a year on a vaccine before it becomes approved. So it would be next year before we would even be close to having a vaccine. Now, if you can find some medicines that control the disease, then we're in good. But like me and Beef were talking off air here during the break about this one cat out in Arizona popped some, the
chloroquine.
The chloroquine.
The malaria drug?
Yeah, but the guy bought chloroquine that you use to put in fish tanks to kill algae, and it killed him. I mean,
I can see how that would happen. People are dumb, Dan. The idiocracy is just in full bloom, and this illness has led people away from rational thought. I mean, it really has, which is fine. It doesn't always lead to any kind of turmoil or tragedy like that one, but just in the panic and paranoia of some and the concern of some leads them to not think rationally.
Right.
It turns 1 + 1 = 2, right. And in this shady, worrisome situation where now people won't admit that 1 + 1 = 2. They want to think 1 + 1 = 4 or 8 or some other number. So anyway, all right. Well, that's the 10-minute drill.
Yeah, let's do. Go ahead.
Well, when we come back, I'm fascinated. I've been following this Nick Foles to the Bears and the reaction in Chicago and the reaction from around the country, from the Nationals, and what it potentially means for the Jags, depending on what Nick Foles does from this point. And, I want to check in on that and give you the Chicago perspective and what other, entities around the league. Everyone still seems to – it's like his year with Jacksonville never happened.
Right.
I mean, Nick Foles right now has the same reputation and ceiling, most think, that he had when he walked off the field as a Super Bowl champion. Surely this is not going to end poorly and the Jags just let like a Pro Bowl quarterback walk, right? Anyway.
Who knows? All right, let's do caller number 2 right now. Caller number 2. And when we come back, also, I have a elephant in the room scenario with Jeffrey, and I'll share that as well. It's all coming up right here on The Drill.
Caller number 2 right now, 641-1010, going to take home a $25 Woody's Barbecue gift card. Swing by any convenient location or call for takeout.